start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Public comment. Is there anything tonight? Okay. We will go on to Supervisor's Office. She's got the list here. Discussion, updated ethics code. We're still in the works on some things. And you should have gotten an email on some things that Paul had answered and some things he still has to answer. So, is there any discussion further on that tonight from the town board?
I'm just going to put my 2 cents in regarding this ethics, code of ethics. Much of it is what's already in our code of ethics. There are some things that are different or that are added, and I'm not really certain that we need to make any changes to our current ethics law. I don't really feel that this is a law that we need, especially when it comes to having another board. I just see this as something that can get very messy. We've had these problems in the county already with the ethics. And that a few years ago in the legislature, remember.
What was the context of what happened?
With the legislature? The legislature was voting on contracts, and one of the legislature's spouses worked in the controller's office.
Okay.
Right? And this contract is like a CSCA contract that covers, many employees, not just that particular person's spouse. And someone took umbrage to it and made a big deal of it. It was all through the papers. You remember all of that, Laura?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I just don't think that we really need to have any updates to our ethics code.
Is there any other further discussion on the ethics code?
The notes that I have on it is, mine are mainly pertaining to the ad hoc board. And did you get this? The update from
that was sent
There's
from
an
Paul?
email that got sent from Paul. I haven't had a chance to read it.
Yes, yeah, that one was based on foils. My whole thing is,
No, it's there. It's there on the ad hoc. On the down there. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, well, mine is, I would pretty much take section 11 through 18, I would remove it completely. If we were going to update, if updates have to be made, then okay, I can go with that. But the whole thing of,
You would take out section 11.
I wouldn't do,
11, 18,
I wouldn't do
not 11.
an ad hoc board to look into this because, we're a town of roughly 9,000 or so people. Someone knows everybody here. We have a board within 5. You could have ill intent or someone looking. It just way too many working things where you're going to end up spending money on legal anyway at that point. If we have a code of ethics, I don't think we need 5 or 6 people to discuss if there is something. If we have a complaint, we can just take it up to our legal team dealing with that. And
then this board.
they can judge on it, or we can get 2 or 3 opinions legally, and they know. Then it comes back to the town board, and here's 3 opinions. Would you like to move on? Or so I think the other way, by the time if there is an issue, and then by the time we put a board together, but you're 6 months down the road, and then you're advised on a group that isn't technically legally bound by anything.
Yeah.
And then we're left to make a decision based off that, where we're going to call council anyway before we would make any moves. So I just think that whole portion of it, that leaves it open. And I know in the email it said there were a couple court cases where some of the actions of an ad hoc board such as this in the past have been foilable. And then another jurisdiction said that, well, they were non-foilable because of privacy rights and a few other things in there. So, then you just open it up for a whole, more mess. To where we can, hey, all right, let's look into it. We would go into executive session to discuss anything, or the current town board at that time would go into executive session and then come out, and it would all be, a little more step by step.
I definitely know where you're coming from. Like, it feels like the ad hoc board is a little bit of overkill for a town of our size, and like the number of business matters, and the number of like historical incidents. I think that, like, I had raised a different point previously, but also like, and so like, initially this was drafted, I think that like, we would appoint the board of ethics, and like, I had pushed back on that because like, who knows if we need it or not, and so I think that's why I ended up as being ad hoc.
Yeah, it was changed, I think. Based on that.
But I'd be curious if we even need a board of ethics, or if the town board with council just handle things that came up.
I mean, that's the prerogative of the board to make that decision.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to understand from Paul if it creates liability for us, or
Well, I think as opinion,
conflicts or anything like that.
I think just by reading the opinion of what research is done on it already, it's been done. And yeah, you're always open to anybody can sue you. You're always open to liability. So I think your question's already answered.
I haven't read the email.
Okay.
It's in my perspective is, if someone makes a complaint today, what would we do? We would, look at it pertaining to the current laws,
We go into executive session.
session, and contact legal counsel.
Yeah.
And it can be solved within probably a week.
Yeah.
Or less, depending, rather than a whole big show of sorts.
On the other hand, if it's a member of the board, it's get kind of sticky, which would counter your argument.
Not necessarily, because we could still do the same thing.
Yeah,
And also
also
just be members of the
They
board.
had to refuse.
100%, yeah. But then we still have 4 board members, so 100%.
It's not, to me, it wasn't a big push on my part.
Yeah, I mean,
I think Paul was a big push.
Yeah, I also like, some of the questions that I raised that I wanted council to respond to was that we have an existing code of ethics. It's in the employee handbook
But we're
section,
updating.
and I do feel like this is more comprehensive, and I think that we should take out the section that's in the employee handbook, so it's clear which code of ethics is actually.
Yeah, well, that, I think, is already in here.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
That's what it says, but if you look at the current code of ethics and you compare it, it's basically the same. It took the wording out of the current code of ethics, so.
There were some revisions.
Yeah, and I think there's some stuff added as well.
Well, yeah, there are things that are added, but I don't feel that we really need to have a new code of ethics.
Well, I think, there's been, significant time invested in expense for
I
legal
understand
counsel.
that.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with updating it and reviewing it, just like the personnel policy that hasn't been updated since 1998, needs to be updated. So I think it's overdue. I would not have a problem with considering taking out section 1118. We can discuss it some more, because there might be some points I'm missing. And take it from there, but that's not a big thing for me. And there is liability. There's always liability. Anybody can sue you for anything. So,
Yeah, that is true.
yeah.
But
So, is
And
there
we
any,
would agree, Jared, from an efficiency standpoint, it's just like, something comes up, you have to appoint the board,
Yeah.
they have to figure it out, and come back. Like,
yeah, it can get very dragged out and maybe overkill, but I think there was some support, at least with one member of the board, right? So it's there and it can be taken out. I don't have an issue with it taken out.
We can also, I don't think, we can also draft it so that like the board can decide severe the situation is. We might decide that like we want some independent group or some group that has a bit more knowledge to like go through it, and then report back to us and we make a decision. Or if it's something smaller,
Yeah, maybe you can send us a suggestion on that ramp wall, okay? That would be fine.
That would be the attorney though, that would look at it.
More so because
Yeah.
even at that, like if we appointed the group, they can't subpoena anybody. So the only thing that it would be, oh, if you want to answer our questions, you can. If not,
Yeah, we're a 110,000 population town. We will reach that very shortly, I think, with what's going on.
oh yeah.
Which is going to bring in a whole new realm of issues. Not on this, but on other things. Is there any other comments on this section for
There
now?
was a question too, in the letter that was sent to, that Paul responded to, I think, someone was asking regarding, relatives, because there's such, we try to cover, it tries to cover every relative, but,
Is that the one you're talking about? What about a romantic partner of an officer employee or a romantic partner or relative? I'm not sure this can be scoped in or not. Yeah, that's a question that Shannon would put in there. She'd like an answer to.
yeah,
And
can't cover everything
No.
in the law.
but yeah, you're absolutely right. Very good. And throw the question out and see if there's anything we've learned from it that we don't know now.
My feeling about developing new laws, new policies, or any law or policy is that one element of it is enforcement.
Right.
And enforcement should not be, I could just see this getting really nasty. I can see it getting, the newspapers being involved, because people will talk, and then you're gonna have all of this questions about, can you foil these people? Are there emails going back and forth? When we could just really deal with it within the board, I do believe, and with our legal
Well,
representative.
those questions are going to come up anyway, so
Well,
I think
not just if
Well-
the board goes into executive session to discuss it with someone, how's it gonna come out?
are you, as far as the ethics thing here, whether it's formal or not, I think that question came from Paul Brooks.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I mean, I just don't think we need to open ourselves up to, foils and.
well, I don't think there's anything in the current PCO written on that. On the portal. I think it
Well,
was,
that's just open government, period, and we operate under open meetings
Right.
laws, so,
we're not putting anything in here that I recall reading on the portal on this.
on this new one?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if you have this ad hoc committee, I think you're really.
Well,
opening
if you get rid of
yourself up.
that and not commit that, resolve that problem. Right?
Yeah, if you don't have it
Right.
at all.
Right. And if it goes, I'm not upset about it.
what is the reason for a separate committee?
You'd have to ask Paul, that's not something I was advocating. So, I'm not advocating. But-
Yeah, I'm not asking your advocate, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I don't know. I know, because I have a lot of other things I've been dealing with, and something he came up with, so we threw everything to the
Okay.
time.
I think he pulled it from a standard framework.
Yeah, I did, I'm sure.
And so, like, is there something that we're missing for why that is?
I think at some of the other agencies, the larger agencies, like their C-suites are on the ethics, so your CFO might be some of the.
It's a different level.
C-suite or HR.
So it's not like everyone in the C-suite, but it's like these people in the
Right.
C-suite are designated for that.
That I've seen at least, but.
So, is it, we have some other questions on this, and you're gonna give me one or two, right?
I don't have, you have all my questions.
Okay, well, she's recording it, so we'll get that over to Paul.
Oh, yeah, I guess my only other question, yeah, is just like, do we make it flexible because it's on board and an ad hoc committee?
See if there's anything else he can enlighten us on to the best of his ability. Okay, so the next discussion is the administrative transition code. And does anybody have any discussion on that one? That's chapter 4. Transition and continuity of government. Again, this is just discussion. So we'll move on.
Yeah, I commented.
Okay. If you see something we're missing that you think should be in there, please let us know. I know when my time's over, I want a smooth transition to the next person, whoever it is. I hope this will be my guide in doing that.
So I had a question though, and I don't know if maybe Holly would be able to answer that. Turning things over to the incoming person, supervisor in this case, can you do that before they're sworn in? And can you turn over the keys? You're saying no? I don't think so either.
No, not on everything.
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
I mean, it's possible to sit down and discuss, but a turnover cannot occur before January 1st, after the swearing in.
Right. You could have everything set up for that moment in time. Keys, everything could be done that way. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you mean.
I have every intention. I don't know what my, it's not just me, but, hopefully that this will be a guide to follow. And it has been looked at by legal counsel. You raised a question on just at what point in time legally certain things can be done. So maybe it needs a little tightening up on that. So we can have a lawyer look at that. That would make sense to me. And I think both lawyers looked at this. I think Paul Dowd actually wrote this part, if I remember correctly. So we can go back, and I do know some other towns want to see what I come up with, because they're also interested in having a better transition code in their towns.
I think the whole government has that concern,
That's an
from the
understatement.
president
Let's
on
take this
down.
on our remit.
Well, I mean, it's something that's not just, applicable to us, to our small town,
Right.
but it is something with transitions, that all forms of government.
It should be smooth. It should be respectful.
It should be, yes, that's right. And it usually does work. Every once in a while, there may be an exception. And I'm sorry it didn't work in this case, but I've been here from when Shannon came on, when, Danielle came on. I don't recall any problems, with transitions, with those administrations. So I guess, like 90% of the time, no problem, but when there is a problem, that 1% or 10% of the time, that makes you want to have a document,
It's a good guide.
place.
It's a good guide.
Say, yes, you have to understand those, the guide, and then it has penalties, which,
Yeah.
40.10, I don't know if that's.
It depends on the severity of things. Again, the current board at that time would have to look at just how, what's the word I want to use, how deep in violation, flagrant, whatever the actions were, or these. So
You gotta get,
we say, well, I think that's pretty good, right?
you gotta get the sheriff to come in to get the keys, I mean, that's a different thing.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it would really be dependent on the board to make those decisions at that time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what the point is of a long term.
So,
Then it's just like a,
So that person would on the fence as well.
Anything else that I do as supervisor that I could be held liable for, I can be represented by, the town, even when I leave.
Right,
Yeah,
that's,
just normal. I'm trying to make sure that doesn't happen.
You know, all of us feel that same way.
So I don't know, I did read it, and the only thing I wasn't sure, because I didn't have time to go on to something else, was the actual penalty per se, and take a look at that. So we can have a little clarity on it, maybe have it. Okay. But overall, everybody's taking a look at it, talking about it's pretty down pat. And the public's looking for it. Got it. Thank you. Let's go to a motion at this point to authorize the installation of the vacant kits, which include a 10-year, is what Danny told me, I want to see it in writing, because I'm going to be looking for it, 10-year equipment warranty and replacement of any damaged kit parts that has been sitting down there for a few years, including under the snow this winter. Installation support anchors, which is those healing coils, and installation of blacktop pads, which the highway superintendent's committed that they would help with doing the blacktop, which will save us some cost. Of course, lower cost of the blacktop. At both Lighthouse Park and Freer Parks, in the amount not to exceed $65,000. We set down with the budget, Deborah, and we thought that was a good number, and then we'll have more specific contracts as we go along. That will come out of escrow. We want to keep things on target, so we'll have hopefully more for you at the next meeting, if I can have this passed tonight. So I need a second, first of all.
second.
Okay. And then we'll get more details for you as we move along. Because the schedule is to try and get Commerce at the highway department. They're telling me maybe like late September we can start working on it. I don't want them to hear that they're under the snow.
Have they already checked the,
No,
no?
it's all in the plastic, and we're just hoping everything's good. But he did speak to the kit provider, and he said they would give you the, if there's some damaged parts, they would do that, and also it would be if they're doing the installation, 10-year warranty. So again, I wanted in writing, and everything should be reviewed. And then I bring it to you that I know it's been sufficiently gone through.
So all the wood beams and everything?
Everything's in that package, and all covered with plastic wrap on pallets. We're just hoping nothing's warped.
Sure, right, they're all pressure free.
You think we're gonna be all right?
Down on this one, stuff, they're probably good at that.
No, it's good news to hear. I think so. Okay, so
And it's coming from the escrow, so that's like,
the address.
The recreation escrow, it's paid
So-
for, yeah.
but that's also the same pocket of money that we could use to match any grants, right?
Right.
Okay, so we're like giving up the ability to use that $65,000 to match grants.
Absolutely. That's what the escrow's there for. So, and it's the only way I can get these things done. If they'd been done earlier with some other items, maybe we could have done it a little differently. But again, the checks we got, the checks this year, only came this year. The $250 and the $142. So, I mean, it's really important when the planning board makes sure we get our subdivision fees for recreation. We need that money.
And these pavilions will also be rentable?
Yes. Yes, and we can bring some income.
Extra.
Yeah, that will help. We'll go in the general fund. Yes. So, I mean, the motion's been seconded. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Motion authorizing town supervisor to submit a lease application to Lease Source Financial Solutions. This, Debbie said I have to do this first and make sure we get an approved lease for the weight scale down at the transfer station. Okay. replacement on it. So, I need a second on that motion. Second, any, and what you want, I'll have more information.
Submit the lease and then we'll approve the lease later.
First we do, see if we get the lease approved, or credit.
Right, but like once we're not approving, like we still need the financial details.
Yeah, we're gonna have more approved, yeah. We just gotta do the first part to say they would loan us the money. And then we can give you more details, but this is my first step, is what she told me she's gotta do.
And, in the initial discussion, it was, we'll see if we'll qualify for that, as well as having highway possibly assist with the concrete, saving money on.
They will.
In the project that's.
Mike is committed to me, he will
But,
help.
so it's not the whole,
Right,
complete
right.
subcontracting everything, we're just going after what we can't do ourselves.
Right, it's a cement work, he will help, the whole kit will come, we put together, but as far as that part, we'll get some support from highway again.
Right, yeah, no.
Yeah, I've been,
The actual scale itself, the scale kit you said?
Yeah.
And then this piece that has to be the installation,
right,
and that's going to be done by,
installation will be by that, company as well.
okay, with assistance from our highway.
The highway will, once everything's out of there, the old scale and stuff, I'm not sure who's taking that down at the moment, but, I think, once that's done, and they have to build the support, they have to do a middle support. The two side supports that have been previously worked on, I don't know how much you have to touch that up. And then I asked about the steel, I don't know, girders, what would you call them, girders? They come with the kit, that was told. So I'm not sure who's gonna, I imagine they will implement putting them in, right? The installation, because we have an installation charge and we have a freight charge.
Yep.
And we're at, what, around 55, I think it was. I think that's where I was at. Of course, everything is, yeah, I have estimated cost, installation 45, I think it jumped. I could be wrong. This is dated 7/20. And estimated cost 65, 44, for the weighing system, Survivor, OTR, steel deck, truck scale. So this 11, yeah, we're at 55. I don't know, I had another 500 there, but we're in that range. So, 50 finance, 50% due on order, 50 due on completion. We don't have the upfront money to pay for it outright. If we did, we could save $25,000, but we don't have it. So, this is where we'll have to put that in the next year's budget. And we already, deal with the loss at that station. They did submit the surrounding rates that some of the other local town transfer stations are getting, which was my request. Haven't looked at that yet, but we'll take a look at it. But to get into what Laura was doing, which was a nightmare out there at New Post, taking that measuring, right, square foot, yeah, it's, we
Debates
don't
on
want to do
cubic yards. It's not an extended KF, it's on, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a disaster. So,
We're not going that way.
no. Unless you want to take that job.
No. I always think you would simple.
We did, yeah. So, okay, so, all in favor? Any opposed? No. Okay, none opposed. Okay, so we're just doing that first initial application to move us forward. And I hope to have stuff for you at the regular August meeting. Sale of surplus property. Now, this has been kicked around a long time. This is the old, what do they call it, rec building down there? By the highway, Smith Sale Road, and I'm even getting asked by residents, well, what are you gonna do with that building? It's been sitting there for a long time. And Barton had a call, and I returned his call, and he said, I thought about it because when John became a supervisor, he suggested to me, well, it's right next to your property, why don't you go for it? It would make a lot of sense. And that's what made me think about it, because I really wasn't thinking about it. So, and they're set, nothing's been done. Now, you believe there was an initial appraisal somewhere from
I had
Brookhawks?
appraisal done whenever I was filling in for supervisor. I remember the exact number on it, but there is an official appraisal done. And I know when Diane McCord was supervisor and we authorized the money to build the new rec building back here, I know it's in notes and on record that once that was built and finished and ready, they were ready to make the full transition, whenever that would be, that the board said we will definitely look to auction, sell, whatever we were doing with that property. That was part to offset the cost for it ultimately.
So, this is the first step, is what our attorney tells me I must do. There'll be more steps. So I'll read the resolution. Whereas the town of Esopus, its resolution to sell real property, whereas the town of Esopus, New York, is the owner of certain real property consisting of 1.89 acres off Station Road, SBL 56.19-3-3, near the CSX train tracks in the town of Esopus, described in Exhibit A Annex. And whereas said premises, which were previously used by the town's Building and Grounds Department, have been and remain vacant and are necessary for any present foreseeable town use or purpose, now therefore be it resolved that subject to permissive referendum, this will start the clock tonight, the supervisor of the town of Esopus, for and on behalf of the said town, be and hereby authorized and directed to sell the aforesaid premises shall be through sealed bids awarded to the highest bidder after advertisement and notice in accordance with the laws of the state of New York, and be it further resolved that the supervisor of the town of Esopus is hereby authorized to execute all documents, take all action as may be required to effectuate the sale and transfer of all right, title, and interest in the aforesaid real property, and be it further resolved that the said property shall be sold within 30 days following the date when the right to petition for a permissive referendum has expired. The sale shall be through sealed bids on public notice at a date to be set by the town board. The sale is subject to the right of the town to reject any and all bids. So I'll make a motion. I need a second on that. Okay. Further discussion. By the way, our attorney wrote this one.
Can you explain the permissive referendum?
30 days, they can petition if they don't want to put it up on the ballot, whether you want the property sold or not. Nobody petitions, we can move forward.
If no one from the public
Right.
petitions,
Right.
okay, from today,
Right, 30 days from
today.
Yeah.
And
It's 30 days following the date when the right for a petition for permissive referendum has expired. If we pass it tonight, we would count 30 days. And we will have an update on the appraisal, so we'll try to find the old one, and then if not, I'm sure Burkholz down the road here at Hudson Valley Appraisals has it.
and
Yeah, I mean, we haven't have a new one anyways, right? Because it's been
It's a couple of years, right? Couple of years.
Yeah, probably over 3.
So it may not be a full cost.
appreciation, I don't think so, probably decrease.
It's not great. It's a lot of years inside, you know, the pieces of stuff.
what was it like 3 years ago? Was it better years?
No, not necessarily. I mean, that's why we built this, because there was issues and there was sharing days, and it was time to settle.
So
I know.
let's find out what we can do with it. And seal bids is easy because it's the least cost. You don't want to, otherwise you go to, if you go to a realtor, now we gotta open up to all the realtors.
How will we advertise that it is?
We can do both on the Esopus site, the Facebook, and we can do an ad in the paper. We can do it, what exposure it should have.
We should make sure we put it in.
Yeah, the frames, I think,
Those are town,
right.
rep,
Right, that's how people, what's the word I want to use it for our legal notices? The Freeman? Okay, so we have a motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. So, very good. You have, a calendar out here for September. They have been given their sheets, to work on their budgets. They've also been given a form to work on 5-year capital plans, which is the first time they've been asked to do that. And, Debbie worked on a piece of sheet for them to kind of list one, a couple things and the costs and stuff, and then you can question more when we get to workshop on that. So what I need to do is get dates from everybody that you're available, so we can put some dates together. And also, Debbie said, well, another way to do it too is not, we could even do it like if everybody had a really good day, we could really go for maybe 8 hours, take a break or something in between, get a lot done in one day, and then do another half day that way, going through them. You've been through other budget cycles, so what has your experience been?
The last few that we've done, unless there was major changes, we would hold them before the meeting, and unless there were major changes, they would come.
About 2 hours before like a workshop, we could, does that work? We won't be here.
I will not be here at the workshop for September.
Okay, so, well, we could start,
an off week.
we could do, I don't know if we could do it at the end of August, she's leaving, you're going September 1st, right?
Second or
Second,
third.
okay.
The end of August, we could do that Tuesday, or what about, no, that's Labor Day. When is, Labor Day is next week. We could do that Tuesday, the first.
Labor Day is when?
September. Labor Day is the 7th.
Oh, there it is, okay. Small.
We could do September 1st. That would work.
Would that work for everybody on the 1st?
What is, sorry,
Because you got, when the workshop is on the 10th, right? And then the 24th
no,
is
workshop is on the 3rd,
on the 3rd.
and town board is on the 17th.
But she's leaving,
She's leaving on,
What date does she have to have everything done? I don't have my calendar with me from last year. I think is it October? By mid-October?
I don't recall.
There's 3 different dates that has to do.
Yeah,
I'm sure Holly knows.
yeah,
She's on, she'll probably, so that you know.
Should I wait for a text?
September 30th, tentative budget must be filed by the town budget officer or town clerk.
September,
30th,
That's the tentative.
that's the tentative.
yeah, so we need
And
to,
then we have.
There she is.
Thursday,
okay.
Do that. That's the tentative.
Okay.
And then we still work through after that.
Yeah, so why don't I try to, why don't I do 2 hours before the workshop in September?
I really can't be for that.
If you can do the first, I'll be here.
The 1st, I can do the 1st if that'll work for you.
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah,
So it's just like 2 hours that Tuesday or more.
It's basically that will bring in,
we won't,
beforehand, she'll get all of the budgets from each of the departments. And she'll have that, and we'll kind of go over those with them, if any of their,
With the department heads.
right, if any of them have to come in. And they will talk about what they want to see in their budget.
And we do all that in 2 hours.
no, I don't think
And I
so.
think we do.
Yeah, like that
I
feels.
think it would be
I
like,
think it was split a few times. She met with department heads, and Danielle did. If there was no major changes from the previous, it was kind of like, okay, well, here's what they brought, and then, water and sewer department would show up here, highway would show up here. The major ones that you're looking for, vehicles, budget increase.
Right, if we're doing it on the first, it should be more than 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's, what time would you want to start on a Tuesday? If we could go 4 to 6 hours, 8 hours if you want. But you gotta have a break, because your mind's gonna get kind of, foggy.
Deb, we have to be here, correct?
Yeah.
So, if you were to do like 5:30, is that too late? I really, because Jared's.
What's your schedule?
Jared.
I have a shockingly open day
Oh, wow.
that day, so I could move my schedule.
You wanna start at 2 in the afternoon? And break
I'll
it?
probably be a little late, but
What's your schedule? You don't know. Yeah, I get it.
Usually,
It fluctuates. Would 2 cut you out a lot if you,
probably not so much.
or 3 be better?
Probably still do it.
Okay. Not
How's
really.
4?
4 is closer.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's a 5.
How about 4 o'clock on Tuesday? That would be the first. And we'll go to 4 to 5, 6, 7, 8, 4 hours, 9. How about 4 to 9? It's 5 hours.
As
4 to
long as
9.
you're bringing a pizza in between. I think that's what the supervisor's always do.
My turn, right?
I'm joking.
Okay, 4 to 9. I've done highway, I know a couple of
Plus,
years.
you're such a pizza place, you order. You have to order from both to match your favorites.
I rotate.
Right, yeah, Paulina's. I was thinking about it for
Oh, that
you.
makes 4.
Yeah, I rotate.
Anthony's Tony's.
Holly said there's court on the 1st.
Oh, that's not gonna work. Well, we have the office, my office.
Or you can move it downstairs.
Well, we can use that.
Well, then you should keep it to that if we can, because it seems to be a good date for everybody.
Yeah, otherwise we lose that one and no one getting that real time.
Yeah, and it's, so there's 4 to 9, so we gotta pick another, date.
What else, Holly?
You're gonna have,
What's the other date?
Always one.
you're gonna miss one because she wants it, by 9:20 is tentative, so, but you can always come and join us by phone, you're always welcome.
Is that for an open meeting? No. He's joking. I'm not doing it anyway.
The following week, well, we could submit some things, if you have some written comments though, you could send that forward. Yeah, that you could do. What's the following Tuesday look like? That's when the 10th is our workshop, right?
No, the third is our.
Third,
seventeenth.
okay, workshop.
Third and the 17th are our.
What about the 3rd at 5?
Okay. Why?
Because it's just before a meeting, so the board will already be here.
Oh, the
Or
third?
6, yeah.
Okay,
How long are you gone?
yeah, so why don't we go back, so our minds are still fresh, I think we should go right into the 3rd and do it 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock
On Thursday?
on Thursday, yeah, and see where we're at, we should pick one third date.
So I'm just putting.
Paul, I hope everything's gonna work with him, if we can make it work, we've gotta try, because it's hard to get everybody on the same schedule. We have to go into after Labor Day. You wanna do it right after that Tuesday, or you wanna go into a Wednesday or a Thursday, what do you wanna do?
17th.
The 17th probably. before the
17,
meeting.
you want it there,
That
okay,
would be better, because
Five.
I have my company board meeting on the 11th.
Okay,
so
5.
the 7th,
5 p.m.?
On the 17th?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have 3 days. Is that sufficient, you think?
Oh, yeah.
It
This
is.
is just your tentative. And
This
then-
is tentative, right?
And, you know, what preliminary before it goes to anyone.
Okay. Okay, so we got something to start. That's great.
Very good.
So,
Time.
okay, okay, I need a motion to adjourn. Who wants to make that one? Is there anything else before we're good?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.